श्याम जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी शोधानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी प्रिय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी शोधानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा सुभद्रमा जय सुदर्शन जय गोपाल देव गोपाल देव गोपाल देव जय गोपाल देव गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय पतित पावन गौरनिताय प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय श्रीपदा जय गुरुदेवा श्रीपाद जय श्रीपद जय जय श्रीपाद 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 जय गुरु महाराज श्रील श्रीपाद की जय जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम जय संवेद भक्त वृंद की जय. So we're continuing our Bhagavatam Seva. Today the chapter 6 canto chapter 16 King Chitraketu meets the Supreme Personality. Text number 49 and 50. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Budhiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishiki. Text number 49. Sri Shuka Vacha Samstuto Bhagavan Evam Anantastam Abhashata Vidyadrapatim Pritas Chitraketum Kurudvaha. Shri Shuka Vacha Samstuto Bhagavan Evam Anantastam Abhashata Vidyadrapatim Pritas Chitraketum Kurudvaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Shukadev Goswami continued, the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anantadev, being very much pleased with the prayers offered by Chitraketu, the king of the Vidyadharas, replied to him as follows. O best of the Kuru dynasty, Maharaj Parikshit. Next verse number 50. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Yannaradangirobyam te vyahritam menu shasanam samsiddho sitaya rajan vidyaya darshanachame. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Yannaradangirobyam te vyahritam menu shasanam samsiddho sitaya rajan vidyaya darshanachame. Translation, purport by Prabhupada. Translation, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anantadev, replied as follows. O King, as a result of your having accepted the instructions spoken about me by the great sages Narada and Angira, you have become completely aware of transcendental knowledge. Because you are now educated in the spiritual science, you have seen me face to face. Therefore, you are now completely perfect. Purport. The perfection of life is to be spiritually educated and to understand the existence of the Lord and how he creates, maintains, and highlights the cosmic manifestation. When one is in perfect knowledge, he can develop his love for Godhead or love of Godhead through the association of such perfect persons as Narada and Angida and the members of their disciplic succession. Then one is able to see the unlimited Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Although the Lord is unlimited, by his causeless mercy, he becomes visible to the devotee who is then able to see him. In a present position of conditioned life, we cannot see or understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevonmukhe hi jibbado swayam eva spuratyadha. No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord are revealed to him. Said from the Bhaktivedanta Sindhu. And 1.2.234. So, if one takes to spiritual life under the direction of Narad Muni or his representative, and thus engages himself in the service of the Lord, he qualifies himself to see the Lord face to face. The Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, 38 sloka states, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhaja. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love, right? Premanjana. He is seen in his eternal form of Sham Sundar, situated within the heart of the devotee. One must follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Thus, one becomes qualified, and later he sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead as evinced by Maharaj Chitraketu. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarup Damodara Swaminiti Namine Nama Satvaktamane Manipurudbhavaya Cha Prabhupada Satvani Prachara Niratayate Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarurvyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamana Tam Namami Harim Param Sansara Sagare Magnam Deenam Mam Karunanide Karmagrahya Grihitangam Mam Uddhara Bhavarnavat Srimad Bhagavatam Akyoyam Pratyaksha Krishna Evahi Svikritosi mayanata mukyartam bhavasagare. So this is very wonderful chapter where the King Chitraketu, he's getting the results of following his spiritual master Narad Muni and Angira Muni's instructions. Okay? So this is the thing, and the final result, we say everything phalena parichete. Somebody may be very rich and he's claiming, somebody may be claiming, I'm very rich, I'm this, I'm that, and have crores of rupees. But then if that person is loitering in the street, then you can understand, that this is not true. So same way, if somebody is claiming to be a, very much advanced in spiritual life, and you can see from the symptoms if that person has actually, seen the Lord face to face. This is a phala, the result. The result is that the spiritual world and, all the variegatedness in the spiritual world is actually revealed to the person. The person, he can see the Supreme Lord. He can see, the material energy. He can see the spiritual energy. He can see all the living entities. Everything is possible by the grace of the spiritual master. This is the most important thing. That's why Prabhupada is making this. This is the most important statement there. One must follow the instructions of the spiritual master. This is Bhumil Skalita Padam, Bhumil Avalambanam. Gorgon Maharaj was giving this very nice thing where he's saying, if you slip on the earth, right, you don't expect that the sky will come and save you. If when you're slipping, you are walking and all of a sudden you slip on the earth, you will fall down on the earth only. Only the earth has to protect you. You cannot expect that the sky or the moon planet, will come and save you. You cannot expect that. It's not very practical thing. So it is a spiritual master ultimately who has to take you back to God. So whatever has been done, you should see to that yena kena prakarena, some way or the other, you have to somehow or the other you have to please a spiritual master. This is the whole essence. And the Falswarup, the result of doing that activity is that you can directly have darshan of the Lord. You can see. The entire thing will be very crystal clear. It will be visible to you. And whatever doubts you may have, whatever confusion you may have, whatever misgivings you have, everything will be washed away. We say seeing is believing. So you can see the name, how the name is not different from the Lord. You can see the wonderful form of the Lord. You can see the different pastimes of the Lord. And you can also understand all the different transcendental qualities of the Lord. But everything begins with this first single factor, tasmat gurum prapadyeta, acharyopasanam. First you have to go and prapadyeta, you have to go and surrender to a spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master, like Narad Muni, Angira Rishi, or their representatives. And then Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. You inquire about Shreyas, what is the ultimate benefit? It's being talked about, the perfection of life. What is the ultimate perfection of life? Not all the other varieties of questions that one can ask. But what is the ultimate perfection or the distinction I can achieve in this human form of life? This is the Shreya. This is the ultimate questions. These are the final beneficial questions that one supposed to ask. Jigyasu Shreya Uttama. And what is the qualities of the spiritual master? Samit Bani Shrotyam Brahmanishtam. The spiritual master has heard from his spiritual master and he is completely convinced about that. 100% conviction. No here and there. Shrotriyam and then Brahmanishtam. And because he is fully convinced, he is Brahmanishta. Brahmanishta means he is completely, totally fixed in the supreme absolute truth. He doesn't deviate. He never deviates. So this is the two primary qualifications of the Guru, that he has heard everything from his bona fide spiritual master. And then the other thing is that because he has heard from the proper sources, it is firmly established in his heart. And then Brahmanishtam, he is fully situated on the spiritual platform. And then because he is situated there, then it is easy to give you transcendental knowledge, to explain all the things in details. It's very easy. You see, in the previous chapter, not previous chapter, in the previous canto, actually, towards the end, you see how our Sukadev Goswami is describing all these hellish planets, right? And because of a lack of knowledge, all the living entities, they commit some kind of sinful activities, and especially human beings, who are supposed to be advanced in intelligence, who consider themselves superior because of advanced intelligence. These human beings, when they commit sinful activities, they have to go to hell and they have to suffer. You cannot avoid that. So Parikshit Maharaj, because he is a Vaishnava and he cannot tolerate the sufferings of other human beings, so he is inquiring, Sukadev Goswami, we know that people who are suffering, it's because of sinful activities, but how can they overcome the suffering? How can they be relieved of the suffering? That was the question actually. And then Sukadev Goswami is saying they have to make this atonement. You have done something sinful, you have to atone for that. And there are three different processes of atonement. Prabhupada is explaining very nicely in one of the purports. Yeah. Prabhupada is saying somebody who has committed sinful activities, sinful life means that he has to suffer. This is a law. You cannot avoid that. So Sukadev Goswami is saying, my dear king, Parikshit Maharaj, the sinful activities must be atoned, and there are three processes, either through karma, through jnana, or bhakti. And this yoga, the process of yoga comes within jnana, right? It comes within knowledge. So to improve a condition, we call elevation, to improve a condition from this present state, from the sinful state or contaminated state to the purified state, there are three different processes. This karma, one among them is karma. Like, generally people, they work very hard, economic condition, day and night, they are striving so hard. So we can also work very hard for a future happiness, for a future betterment, we can promote ourselves to the heavenly planet, or we can degrade to the hellish planet. All these things, both the ways, up or down, you can go simply by our activities. But the thing is, as soon as you're engaged in karma, knowingly or unknowingly, you commit sinful activities. This is a position. Like, you don't want to kill any animal. You don't want to take away something's life, right? But even while walking, ordinarily walking, you're walking, you kill so many ants and so many living entities. Unwillingly, you don't do that wantedly. So even that is taken into account. You cannot even kill a small ant. So you see, this karma or karma kanda, this is not very safe. This is not a very safe means for promoting yourself. Then you go to the other one. Prabhupada is saying the other thing is, and Prabhupada is giving this example of this king, right? This king, what he does, he is giving so much charity to the Brahmanas. So he's giving thousands of cows in charity to the Brahmanas. Very wonderful king, who's giving cows these days? All, fully decorated with golden ornaments and everything. And then one of the cows from one Brahmana, somehow it goes into, the other Brahmana's herd. And that Brahmana is taking that cows and going. So this Brahmana, this earlier Brahmana who was donated that cow, he came to the king and he complained. My dear king, my cow is in that herd. That fellow is, he has taken. That other Brahmana has taken my cow. So the king is, because he has donated unknowingly, without awareness that this has already been donated. So the king is trying to compensate and saying, I will give you 10 more cows in place of that. You please take this. But no, the Brahmin never accepted. No, I just want my cow. I don't want your 10 cows. And ultimately, because the other Brahmin was not willing to give, this Brahmana, this first Brahmana, he cursed the king. And the king had to become a lizard. See? With all good intentions and still going to hell. And then ultimately, Lord Krishna had to come and save that lizard. Simply by touching that lizard got liberated. It got a divine form, and the king went back to the heavenly planets. So you see, karma kanda is very, very risky. And then you go to the other one. What is that? The jnana kanda. See, jnana kanda means you're trying to understand everything very properly, right? But the thing is that because there is so much speculation and because there is no real knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is a source of everything, because there is no such knowledge, so this is also a very risky process. That is why to gain this kind of knowledge, transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge, one has to approach a spiritual master. And then there is a final process, this Bhakti Marga, but Bhakti Marga is not risky. Why it is not risky? Because it is a path of devotion, loving devotional service. Devotion itself means you have some love, but Prabhupada is still stressing that word, loving devotional service. You see, because you're doing it out of love and because you're doing devotional service means you're trying to please the Supreme Personality. So even though there may be so many faults, still Krishna, because he is a Supreme Father, he overlooks all these things. See, it's Prabhupada is giving this example like these children, small tiny children, babies. They say, mama, 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 they blue, 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 something they say. And the mother and father, they are so happy, oh, my child is saying, mama, my child is saying papa. And you see, when the child is trying to walk, it will fall down, so many times. And, somehow or other, he is grabbing something and he is trying to stand. You see, the father and mother, they overlook all these things that, you're committing so many mistakes, you're not doing the thing properly. But still, because the intention is you're doing it with love, so, Krishna is able to, bring that person to this stage of perfection. And this has to happen under the guidance of the Guru. This is the most important thing. That's why, the whole Shastras, all the Shastras, you see, it is saying, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kohe, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoye. Lava matra, less than a fraction of a second also, if you are associating with a bona fide spiritual master, you become most fortunate, all your good fortune arises. And then, the Bhagavatam again, it is said, Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kavi biriritam kalmashapaham shravana mangalam srimadatam Bhuvi Grinanti Bhurida Jana. The topmost devotees of the Lord, they are singing this. They say, Tava Katamritam, your nectarian stories, the pastimes of the Lord, all these things are Tapta Jivanam, for those living entities who are suffering and burning in this fire of material existence, unlimited sufferings. For them, this is the only means. This is like a nectar, like a cooling shower of nectar. Kavibi Reeditam, all the most intelligent people, the most intelligent people, the most learned scholars, they have come to this conclusion. If you have to purify existence, you have to purify your senses, all the kalmash, you want to remove all these unwanted things, the contaminations, the infections, the contaminations from your life, then, this is a process. You simply hear this Krishna Katha. That's why we say Nityam Bhagavata Seveya. Both, if you are able to serve the Bhagavatam daily and the Mahabhagavat, the pure devotee of the Lord, you're able to do this daily, then you see all these things will automatically happen. Shravana Mangalam, you simply hear the Bhagavatam, even you have no inclination to that, you just come and simply sit and you hear the Bhagavatam, you see the result will be there. Srimad Atatam. Srimad means all good fortune will be there, in your life. Then Bhuvi Grinanti, somebody who's distributing this katha, they are the most magnanimous people in the world. Bhurida. So this is the extreme mercy of the spiritual master that he's going out of his way to give you this topmost thing. And if we cannot follow such a personality, you can understand how we degrade ourselves in life. It's automatic. The spiritual master is much more merciful than the Supreme Lord because he is giving you the Supreme Lord directly, without any discount. Even Krishna cannot give himself. Although the Lord is saying, If somebody comes and surrenders to me, ye yatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham, I will, accordingly I will reciprocate. The Lord is saying that in the Bhagavad Gita. But if you're 100% surrendering to the Lord, you think Krishna can 100% surrender to you and run after you? You think that is possible? No, because there is a 20% devotee, there is a 80% devotee. There is somebody who's doing 90% devotion. Krishna has to take care of all these people. So he cannot hand over himself to you 100%. But the Guru does that. The spiritual master, he does that. You can just grab Krishna, here you take wholesale, 100%, no discount. The unlimited Lord is completely at your disposal. And King Chitraketu, he is at the receiving end of this mercy. He has understood all my family relationships, all these things are very temporary and very miserable. So he is surrendering to Narad Muni and Angira Muni, and he is chanting this mantra which is being given by his guru. He has heard the mantra from his guru, and he is chanting it very nicely. And you see the end result, he is seeing the Supreme Personality. So this is the thing. This is a thing, because this material life, it actually means we are contaminated by these three modes of material nature. Everybody. Either you're on the goodness platform, you're on the passion platform, or you're ignorance, or there is always a kichri. There is a full mix of all these things, and there is always every chance of falling down from one platform to another platform. This chance is there, because you're situated on the material platform. When you're on the material platform, there is duality. Duality means either this way or that way, you will keep falling down. But if somehow you elevate yourself, to the spiritual platform, just like, this is what we are trying to do, this is Bhakti Yoga. We are always trying to engage in devotional service, and we are requesting all of you please come and engage in devotional service, because as long as you're engaged in devotional service, you are always on the spiritual platform. And on the spiritual platform, there is no duality. There is no question of falling down here or there. You will always be situated there. This is above all the material qualities. Krishna is saying, Mamcha yo avyabhacharena. Vyabhachari, right? Not like a prostitute running to one person and another. Avyabhacharena. Bhakti yogena sevate. Sa gunan samati tyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So you want to go become Brahma Bhuya, situated on the Brahman platform, at least the spiritual platform. And Krishna is saying, what is that? Mam cha yo avyabhacharena bhakti yogena se. You do this bhakti yoga, but without prostituting yourself. Don't run here and there. You stick to this. Then gunan samititya, you will cross over all the gunas, these three modes, and then you will be situated on the spiritual. This is what the Lord is recommending. So somebody who's like engaged 24 hours, always engaged. It's not that you shouldn't eat or you shouldn't sleep. You don't say these things. But even eating, you take prasadam so that you're always remembering the Lord. And taking rest also, minimum, whatever the body is required. We cannot imitate the Goswamis who are, just 2 hours or something, they used to sleep every day. And sometimes even that they don't do, because these Goswamis were sitting and they were writing so many wonderful literatures. You're working so hard. So whatever is practical for us, still, but if we are able to do this minimum sleeping, because the whole sleeping period actually means you're wasting your time, basic. So this thing, we should try to minimize all these material engagements, and somehow if we are able to, engage ourselves more and more in spiritual life, you will see that one day you can have this darshan of the Lord. And Prabhupada is making this wonderful thing that, see, in the material world, there is this consideration. If somebody is in a top post, somebody is like a manager, and somebody is in a lower post, like a small clerk or something like that, there is so much difference. The facilities for the manager is more, his pay scale is more, the respect he gets is more, so many things. But in the spiritual world, this difference is not there. Suppose you're offering flowers, and one small ant is there in that flower, and some of these flowers are offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, and that small tiny ant, he is able to kiss the lotus feet of the Lord. There is no difference between that ant and the pujari who is offering everything to the Lord. There is no difference. Spirituality is such a wonderful thing, whatever your category you are, it will accommodate you. Then purification, there is elevation, and then finally you are promoted to the spiritual world. You are reinstated in your original position. This is a wonderful thing about spirituality. First it is accommodating. Spirituality accommodates everything. Even the demons, they accommodate. Krishna, the very big rascals also, they accommodate any kind of people. And then gradually, they are purified. This process, by the process of bhakti yoga, by engaging yourself in devotional activities under the instructions of the spiritual master, who can guide you, according to your nature. The spiritual master will guide you, and then he will knowledge. Everything will be revealed, depending upon your sincere service and humility. And then gradually, once the senses are purified, and then one is elevated, one comes gradually to the spiritual platform, and then then you are promoted. You are promoted back to the spiritual. So this is a whole process of a devotional service. So otherwise, whatever activities we are doing in this material world, whether we like it or not, we are simply doing sin. Actually, we are just committing one sinful activity after another, even though it is not intentional. Unwillingly, we still have to do all these sinful activities. So unless one is coming to this process of bhakti yoga, and one accepts a spiritual master and follows his instruction, there is no question you will achieve any perfection in life. You will simply have to come and keep rotating within this material world again and again. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare sayanam. Iha samsare bahudustare. Punarapi jananam, again and again taking birth. Punarapi maranam, again and again dying. Then punarapi janani jatare sayanam. 10 months you will be packed in the womb completely without any movement inside the womb of a mother, again and again. Iha sansare. This is this material world, sansar. Bahudustare. It's very difficult to cross this. Kripaya pare. My Lord, you give me that special mercy. Pahi Murare. You go surrender to Murari, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamati. You please worship Govinda. Worship Govinda. Worship Govinda. Mudamate. Don't be foolish. You please worship. And because Maharaj Chitraketu, he is able to overcome all these sufferings, because of this family attachment and everything. And because he found such a wonderful guru like Narad Muni, and because he was able to engage, himself in strictly following the orders and with full heart, fully dedicated. So you see, very quickly he got the result. He got even a side result to become a Vidyadharapati, the master of the Vidyatras. But the final result, the ultimate result, the Shreyas, he got that he was able to see the Supreme Lord, Anantadev. And now you see the Lord is instructing him. The Lord is saying, my dear king, you are so fortunate to meet such saintly people. And because you have followed their instructions very nicely, so you are able to see me face to face. And this is the perfection of life. This is a distinction in the human form of life. This is a mission of a human form of life. You have achieved that. The Lord himself is, he's able to have the darshan of the Lord face to face. And then now the Lord is going to instruct him. After this, there are so many instructions by the Supreme Lord, very wonderful instructions. So, I think I'll wind up here. The thing is that that's the thing, we should always somehow or other, we should remain engaged in devotional service. Then, there's no question of downfall or going down into this hellish condition of life. You will always be protected by the Lord. Yesterday, we were having this class at the Bangalore boys, this Diary Science Institute. So they were asking all these questions. We are so afraid we are going to die. And then my father, he was very young. He just passed away very recently. And that lady, she was suffering like anything. So you see, this because of this attachment, it is a natural thing. We have these attachments, but the thing is that how you can overcome this attachment and how you can transfer these attachments to the proper source, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Absolute Truth. This is why you need the guidance of a guru, and you need the devotional process. You have to execute the devotional process. Otherwise, these things are not very easy. This attachment is like a very tight knot in the heart. It's not very easy to break apart this heart. And I was giving this example also of our Arjuna, right? The hero of the Mahabharata. So Arjuna, you see, Krishna, the Lord, Supreme Personality, is directly giving him advice, face to face. Mahabharata, before the Mahabharata Yuddha, before the war, the Lord is giving him knowledge. You are the soul. You don't have to worry. This is you don't think this is your grandfather or thing. They are all my part and parcels, and I am the one who's actually killing them. You just do your duty, everything. Arjuna is directly hearing, and he's accepting it. Yes, my Lord, I accept. And then what happens? His son Abhimanyu gets killed, and immediately, he gets all upset. I will kill that person who killed my son, who caused the death of my son. That Jayadratha, I will kill him tomorrow by sunset. Otherwise, I will jump into the fire and kill myself. You see, this is Arjuna status, somebody who is in direct face-to-face touch with the Lord. It's because we are living entities. However exalted we may be, we are ordinary living entities. So because of that, sometimes we get this forgetfulness. We forget these things. And because of this, the spiritual master and all the other devotees who are also like our gurus, they always constantly remind us this. No, be on the spiritual platform. Sadhu, savdhan, don't go there. So this is why the sadhu sang is very, very important. It's very, very important. So somebody in that position, elevated position like Arjuna, also, he can be like that because of this forgetfulness of the Lord. That's why we need sadhu, shastra, and guru to always remind us about this. So thank you so much for your patient listening. Are there any suggestions, any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you for this wonderful class. Yeah, if anyone is having any question regarding today's class, they can raise the hand and ask. His Grace Madan Manohar Prabhuji. Yes, Radha Govind Prabhuji, please.
Dandavad Prabhu.
Dandavad, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I just want your comment regarding that. This is a Krishna Leela in which we are living. Like everything is because of our false ego, we are misidentifying ourselves, just like a video game. So sometimes, but because of Guru and Krishna mercy only, we can think that we are in this game and we are in this Krishna Leela and we can come out of our false ego. So please comment on this, because it's very difficult to even think about. By speculation we cannot never come out. We just Krishna mercy. So please.
See, this is the thing. Everything happens because of association, right? Sometimes you may be very nicely pure, and you're walking close by to a sewage, just walking by. You're not even inside the thing, the sewage canal. But you see, all that bad smell will come on you also. You're not in the sewage like pigs, they go and they jump into the thing and they're playing around. You're just walking on the side, but still that bad smell comes to you. So this association is such a powerful thing that if you're not able to be in good association, always, there is a chance for one person to fall down. This ahankar, it becomes so very prominent, we are not able to actually control that. But when we go surrender to people like the spiritual master and these nice devotees, because of their mercy and because of your humility and your service attitude, they protect you. Actually, this is what happens. I've experienced that many times in my life. I don't want to go into details, but I'm just saying this is how merciful they are. And if one is not able to go and gain that kind of association, one should sit and cry for that. One should sit and cry for that, like how the child is crying if he has lost his parents. Sometimes they go to this Kumbh Mela and the child, somehow they become missing, this Bhule Bhatke, like that, lost and found like that. And somebody picks up the child and he brings him there. You see that child is crying so inconsolably. If somebody really understands his position, how precarious the position is, he will sit and he will really cry like that. But we people, because we have some, some material things, some little aishwarya, some little knowledge, and whatever facilities the Lord has given us, we think, we are fine. This is a problem. But if we really understand how dangerous our position is, how every step there is a danger, like the child, we will sit and we will really cry, actually. But this thing has to come from inside, and that is only possible when you go serve some pure devotees with all humility. Otherwise, this is not going to happen. Guru, Krishna Prasade Pai, both of their mercy is required. You have to please the Guru, and then, the Guru is pleased, the Lord is pleased, and both of their combined mercy, only then this false ego will go. Otherwise, there is no way, Prabhu. There is no way. We are contaminated for so many millions and millions of lifetimes. We don't know, how long we have been rotting in this material world, how many different bodies we have changed, and, what and all attachments we are carrying, these vasanas, right, within the mind. We don't know. So just to overcome that, one at least has to put a sincere effort and start now. So you make it a point always to be in the association of pure devotees, nice devotees, then, this thing is assured. Bhakti, this is assured. This is your eternal credit. And one day when this, this devotional thing, it becomes mature. Maturity is that. Like you put certain amount in the bank and then maturity, after that you will get the interest, right? The same way. You keep doing these processes nicely and you see one day you will be situated on the spiritual path. Just like that. It will magically happen. But don't give up the thing. Don't give up this process. Try as far as possible to be in the association. Try as far as possible to make Krishna the center of all your activities. Even ordinary walking, talking, always try to remember the Lord. So that way, when the time comes, when the devotional process becomes very mature, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, you will be there. You can overcome this. It's not very difficult. The problem is, we are clinging. We are clinging to Maya so much. You know the story about our Janak Maharaj and Ashtavakra Muni. Have you heard this? Radha Govind Prabhu.
Yes,
No,
I have heard.
you have heard this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you see, he went and he grabbed that pillar. The question was, why is Maya catching us? That was a question. Why is this illusory energy, material energy, Maya, she's supposed to be Vaishnavi, Krishna's servant, why is she catching us? Doesn't she have any better job to do? But then Ashtavakra Muni, he got down, he went and grabbed hold of this pillar and he's saying, leave me, leave me. We are the ones who are clinging on to this false ego, clinging on to all these unnecessary things. And, repeatedly, again and again, the instruction is there, don't go there, don't do this, but still we cannot give. This is a durdava, durdaivam, durdasha. This is a misfortune. Janiya sunya vishaka, knowingly we are drinking poison. What can be done? Stubborn, so much stubborn we are that we cannot overcome these things. But still, we try to move ahead. Don't try to go back in life. Always try to move ahead. One step at a time. If we're able to move ahead, in the right direction, then one day we will be there. We will reach the final goal. So that's why everybody, we have to completely depend on the mercy and the prayers of these wonderful devotees, because they can only save us. Actually, we don't have any qualification to save ourselves from anything, from ahankar, from whatever Maya is throwing at us. It's only these devotees, these exalted devotees, elevated devotees, who are always protecting and saving us. So you remember this association is the most important thing. You always be careful who you are associating.
Yes, Prabhu. Because of this association only, we are getting some hint that there is something very bad happening. Because of this, yeah, we are getting some hint that there is false ego which is making us involved in material activities. Yes, thank you.
So yeah, just be careful. That's all. You if you come into spiritual life, you have to be careful. Don't get contaminated. You see, social distancing, right? All these words is there. Vivikta desa se vitam aratir janasam sadi. Don't go to crowded places where all these materialistic people are there. Vivikta desa, go in an isolated place where you can do your bhajan nicely. These Goswamis would dig underground, go inside the cave and sit there and chant. Can you believe this? All these things are happening now because of the virus. Now everybody is covering the mouth. They cannot talk unnecessarily, and then social distancing, and then all these masks and protection gear so that they don't get contaminated. You do the same thing for spirituality, but do it with the same vigor you're doing so that you don't get the virus. So that you don't develop all these materialistic traits. That's all. Process is the same, but you have to do it on a war footing if you really want to make progress. But we are not doing that. We take it over. It's all right. This is our problem, right? Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. That was a very
Pranam.
nice question, Harish.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Balramji, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Balram Prabhu. Dandavat Prabhu.
So I have one question regarding the addition to this the second verse. So here they've said that Chitraketu Maharaj, because he saw Lord face to face, and because of that he became perfect. But what one does once one becomes transcendental, when we see, in spirit, the question basically is what the souls do in the spiritual world, because God incarnates here or comes directly and does his Leela with his spiritual body, and people or the souls, they participate in this Leela also. And when we say, is this the same Leela? What includes the Leela in the spiritual world, or it's different? And if it is same or different, how the souls participate in the Leela, which is transcendental. So it is the same thing that we are doing here, or
why don't you go there and find out?
So, we are not qualified. I am not qualified
No, see, because they are perfect. This is a perfectional stage, right? So whatever activities are performed there are all perfect. There is no contamination. There is no sin. This much I can tell. Beyond that, you'll have to go there and find out. See, I'm also endeavoring to be on that platform, Prabhu. I'm still not there. I'm just whatever by the blessings of Guru Maharaj, whatever little I can speak, whatever they guide me, Paramatma is prompting me, I'm able to speak. That's about it. But realized knowledge, it's a higher level thing, So I can only tell this much, So it will take time, it will take time.
This is very good. So this the God comes here. If the Leelas are there in spiritual world, God also comes here with the spiritual body and performs the Leela.
Yeah. It's not God is coming with a spiritual body. Krishna's body is always spiritual. He doesn't have to come with a spiritual body. Lord's body is spiritual. It's just a replica of whatever is there in the spiritual world. Like, Prabhupada gives his example. You have the American embassy in Chennai, right? So this is within India, but still that is a property of America. Right? It's a material example I'm giving you. Same way, the Lord brings all this paraphernalia from Golok Vrindavan, and when he comes to Vrindavan and he performs his pastimes, they're almost like the replica of that. So because of that, people, they get attracted. The whole reason for Krishna coming and doing all this is that nobody can attract people like the Lord does, because the Lord is fully perfect in every way. So when one becomes little attracted to the spiritual thing, then it becomes little easier to drag that person in, But if there is no attraction, whatever you say, it will go over the head. You understand? So just to bring that attraction, because the Lord is supremely attractive, like a magnet, he will drag. This is the reason why the Lord personally comes. You know, people may not be attracted sometimes to devotees. They may not be attracted to the words of the Shastras. You know, there are so many things like that, you know. But when the Lord comes, they see, and this is a supremely attractive person, anybody will be attracted. You know, they cannot avoid that. It's a natural thing. So that's why the Lord personally he comes. Otherwise, you know, what is the necessity then? If everybody could be delivered by the devotees of the Lord or by the Shastras or, you know, by some avatars or something like that, why should the Lord himself personally come? There's no necessity, right? He comes because he's supremely attractive. You know, you see that kind of thing, you will not be able to resist that kind of attraction.